Hello, everybody. Thought I'd stop by really quickly for my lunch break. Um, yeah, so as I was working on stuff today, I'm listening to various people's chats. I just came out of QB of the Midwest chat, and apparently some stuff is going on with Rita and all that. So what I wanted to do today was to introduce you all to something. I mentioned it in Jay's chat a couple weeks ago when he was so kind as to talk about the entrepreneur course that me and my partner are creating for a nonprofit in Duluth, Minnesota. The nonprofit, they go to prisons, and they also are going to teach this course to individuals in the community, specifically for Black entrepreneurs, because up there where they are, the Black-owned firms, the number of them is very, very low. So what they're trying to do with other parts of the community is to build up the presence of POC in the city and in the community. So we have been fortunate enough to be asked to create this learning experience so they can share it and help individuals to reach that goal. And I love it because I'm learning so much just from researching and putting the curriculum together. It's really, really great. So today, I wanted to talk more about why I have this channel. And I need to talk about it now because as I've been observing some of the other content creators and some of the people that I follow and that I listen to, even if I'm not subscribed, there's some people that I listen to sometimes. And I think it's important to know where I'm coming from with the stuff that I talk about. All right. So as I said, I mentioned in Jay's chat that I'm an author. I've written 3 books. They're all on Amazon. I only have one here with me, one here in front of me. I'll have to get the other ones. They're somewhere in here. I just got to find where they are. So one of my books is called Longing to Learn. Okay. It's on Amazon. It's about learning, and how I quit my last job and why I did that and what I was able to see and how that's really, helping me to put me in a different place, in a more evolved place, where I want to be as an individual, as a mother, as a business owner and all that. So that's Longing to Learn. The other 2 books are more toward, I don't want to say spiritual because it's a little bit of that, but it's something else. Okay. It's very much practical, but it's spiritual as well. So the next one is Tales from Eternity, which is the prequel to the book that I'm going to show you and talk about right now. So the book that I'm my first book, the one that I wrote, is called Fire and God. This is the book. It's on Amazon. It's also on New Harbinger Publications website. They're my publishers, New Harbinger. And yeah, so this is my book. I wrote it in 2014. Now, I'm from Southern Louisiana, okay? I have a family chock full of ministers, deacons, choir members, ushers, all kinds of stuff, okay? My immediate family, my mother, my sisters, well, not so much my brother, but my mom and my sisters, very, 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 very much religious, like, Christian from top to the bottom. So and I was like that too. So for me to write this book, put this title, and put my face on the cover was an extremely terrifying thing for me to do. It really was, because now I talk about that whole story in the book, okay? But I want to talk about it here because it's impossible for me to separate what I do for work from my personal. Like, all that stuff is integrated, even though I do have another YouTube channel called Life Without a Witness, okay? And it's more toward it leans more toward the spiritual side, right? Although everything is connected, okay? And that, right? Because here on YouTube, we can be talking about anything, even outside of YouTube, not just YouTube, like anywhere. You can be talking about anything. And whatever your religion is, it pops up in the conversation, right? You can't separate that stuff. It's intertwined in everything you do because that's the way we navigate. But I bring it up here to talk about this channel because my perspective and everything I say about learning, development, and evaluation comes from the ideas in this book. Okay. And I tell people all the time, don't judge this book by its cover. You think you know what it means when I say firing God, but I promise you, you absolutely do not know. You got to read it to really find out what it means. But let me tell you a little bit. What I came to see, okay, is that God, for me, the way that I've been taught, you know, to believe that there was a being out there just looking at me, you know, ready to judge and you know, allowing punishments and giving rewards and all this stuff. You know, that's what I was brought up to believe. Never questioned it. Because why? Question it for what? Okay. Why would all these people, these adults around me who believe the same thing, why would they tell me something that's not true? Okay. So I grew up to believe it, never questioned it ever until I got to be in my 30s, you know, and I'm like, okay, something don't seem right here. I mean, you know, I kept giving the same excuses, the same things, you know, mysterious ways, and it's because of you're not doing stuff right. You got to do this more and that more. So I kept doing that, right? I kept doing that until I was like, you know what? Something still ain't right. And the question, let me tell you, the question that got me to see what was obvious, the question that finally got me to see what was obvious was, is this all there is? This can't be it. Okay. Me trying to get rewarded and me trying to not be punished. This can't be all there is to life. It can't be. Like, that didn't even make any sense. You know, all of this, all of the beauty, all of the sunsets, the horizons, the trees, the water, all of it, you know, don't do this and do that. That can't be it. Right. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I started asking questions. And I waited and wait. I would wait for the answer. I'd wait, you know, because, and I started asking questions I never dared to ask before. Okay. And that's learning, y'all. That's called unlearning, which is part of learning. Sometimes you can't learn something that you already know. Okay. You can't. You cannot learn what you already know. And what I found out was a lot of the stuff I thought I knew, I didn't actually know. I believed because somebody had told it to me. There's a difference between belief and knowledge. Okay. A lot of stuff I was running on, and I talked about this in one of my previous videos. I think the last two or something like that. I talked about programming, right? I wasn't questioning my program. Why? For what reason would you question that? You know, and something that I talk about, and I have in my book, I think it's in my book, Tales from Eternity, because I used to blog a whole lot, right? And I didn't have my blog public, but I finally made it public. One of the things that I blogged about was, I talk about how there's this video on YouTube where it's black and white, and it shows Saddam Hussein, you know, when he was rising to power. He's in this auditorium, right? He's on the stage. He's got this big old cigar, just smoking, sitting back in a chair, just smoking a cigar. One of his representatives is up at the podium, okay? Audience full of well-dressed, powerful men, full of just men, well-dressed, powerful men, okay? The guy at the podium calls a name. The guy gets up. The name of the person he called gets up. Somebody goes down the aisle, gets him, escorts him outside, and kills him. Because so the guy in the podium is saying, okay, some of you are conspiring against Saddam. We know who you are. So when we call your name, you're going to get up, go outside, and get what you deserve. Okay, now I'm paraphrasing. Okay, but that's basically what he's saying. Something is going on in here, and we found out what it is. We're going to call your name out, and you're going to be dealt with. Child. This man called out another name. The person got up like, and there was no trial. He couldn't explain himself. He couldn't be like, what, why are you thinking, what is, no, take him outside. So let me tell you what happened. I'm gonna try to find this video again so I can put the link in here, but let me tell you what happened. Okay. Now, again, I'm talking about firing God. All right. Let me tell you what happened. The guy was calling name. The people sitting in the audience, they're realizing, okay, something is going on here. I have no control. I'm stuck in this auditorium. People are outside with weapons. Okay. This man is on stage. I don't even know if he's going to call my name. You can feel through the screen. I'm not even there. This happened years ago. Through the screen, you can feel the fear. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in an audience? Somebody just randomly calling names. You can't say nothing. You're just going outside to be killed. Can you imagine the fear? Well, let me tell you, from that fear, because these men were so helpless. Some of them were crying because they were so scared. From that fear rose the greatest praise. These men started, long live Saddam. I mean, they're clapping their hands. They're maniacal, talking about how wonderful Saddam is. You are amazing. We love you. I mean, the greatest praise. But it was praise born of fear. Because in that moment, this person sitting on stage has all the power, all of it. So much power that all he has to do is say your name. And you're done. You're finished. So when I started asking questions, imagine me in this auditorium, asking questions. That's a fearful thing. Nobody was asking no question. For what? You certainly don't want his eye on you. Okay, because you don't want him to call your name and take the only thing you got, which is your life. Okay, you don't want that. So when I started asking questions of the same kind of being that in my mind, that I had come to believe has all the power, can do anything he wants to me, can sick anything he wants on me, make my life miserable, or just take it away if he wanted to. Because there's stories in the Bible where he did that. If he wanted to, he could do that. When I started to question that, can you imagine how hard that was? How full of fear I was? I wasn't doing nothing. I was asking a question. And I was being warned by people who love me. You don't want to do that. They told me, you don't want to get no curse. You don't want to make things bad for yourself. I was being warned. Okay, you don't want to turn your back on the Lord, that's what, this is me. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. That's the whole, y'all see all this stuff on my wall. I talk about learning about, and that's why I say all of the work I'm doing comes from what I went through to write this book. If you're going to learn anything at all, you're going to have to question what you think you know. And I'm not just talking about religion. You ain't got to ask no questions of religion. I'm not telling anybody to not be a Christian, to not be a Muslim, to not be Hindu, to not be a Wiccan, to not worship whatever. That is totally not what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is, at some point, if maturity is going to happen in whatever aspect of your life, you're going to have to start with some questions. Okay? Some stuff you're going to have to do afraid. You're going to have to be scared when you do it. You're going to have to ask that question that you're not supposed to ask if you're going to really do some significant growing and maturing. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you where you have, because there are many aspects of life. Many. Okay. You got plenty of places where you could be asking some questions right now, whether it be with the person you're in a relationship with. And that's another thing. We see the obvious. We see, but we ignore it. I've ignored it, especially when it comes to a relationship. You ain't supposed to be with that person. Come on. You don't need a crystal ball. You don't need to be going to psychics. You don't need to be asking people for advice. You see, but what do? We do what the hell we want to do. We do what we want to do. But at some point, I had to look at what was obvious, and it was scary. It was scary for me. And religion is not the only place that I have done that. Okay. Since then, we're in 29. This was like 5, almost 6 years ago that I went through this process. Okay. And if you go YouTube, if you just type in Cheryl Abram, I'll pop up a lot of the interviews that I've done regarding this book will pop up, and you'll be able to see that. Okay. But, yeah, so this is where this is all of the stuff I talk about here when it comes to learning. Okay. Everybody, I don't care who you are. If you're those men in that auditorium with Saddam, or if you're sitting, in front of your computer or with your phone in your hand, looking at this video, whatever it is, you want to be free. You want to be free to grow and mature in the way that you want to grow and mature. Everybody want that. We all just want the freedom to be able to do with what we will, to use our time the way we want to use it. Okay? We want to enjoy this life. That's what we want to do. We don't want to be constrained and restrained, and imprisoned. We don't want that. And what I'm saying here is that freedom comes when you see that you're free. Okay? When you see that you're free. That's when it comes. And that seeing, that clarity happens when you start to ask questions to see how you've imprisoned yourself. That's what happened with me. I had to start asking questions to say, Cheryl, where are you contributing to being so constrained? Why is this space so tight? Why do you feel like you can't move? What are you doing, Cheryl? Because what I found in a lot of areas is like, I'm in a prison. I'm holding the door closed and I got the key in my hand. Ain't nobody there. Nobody there but me. Imprisoning myself. Normally in my thinking. There's a saying that it don't matter how good your sight is. If your mind is blind, you ain't gonna be able to see. You just can't. You have 20/20. You can see from here to across yonder. But if your mind is blind, you can't see a damn thing. You can't. You're rooting around and you're bumping into stuff, rooting around in the dark, bumping your toe, hurting yourself, because your mind is blind. That's why my mind was blind, and it still is in some areas. I still got work to do, which is why it's not just about me creating curricula for people, doing evaluations and all that stuff. I still need to do evaluation on myself. I still got places of darkness that I need to be brave enough to go into and question, is that really the way it is? Is this what I believe it to be? Is it? Okay. So Ypifany, that's why the name of my company is Ypifany. Ypifany is about, that's what that is. One of my taglines, so I say learning for evolving minds, right? But I also say that what I do here, I help you find what you need and understand what you found. That's what we do here at Ypifany. Find what you need and understand what you found. Okay? And finding what you need ain't hard, because I said it's obvious. Ain't nothing hiding from you. Nothing was hiding from me. It was right there. I just had to see it and acknowledge it. Acknowledge what I was seeing. I had to look. One of my other videos, I talk about looking. Actually looking at the thing and how stuff could be right. The hardest thing in the world to see, in the world, I said in the world, the hardest thing to see in the world is what's obvious. Hardest. Because you look right over it. There's something right now that's right in front of your face, and I promise you, you don't even notice it. Let me tell you. I promise you, you don't even notice it. It's right in front of your face right now, and you don't notice it. I ain't gonna tell you what it is though, but I promise you, promise. If we could pinky promise right now, because it's right in front of my face. I ain't see it. I ain't see it. Right in front of your face. But I won't talk about that here. That's a different thing. But yeah, so I just wanted to let y'all know, okay, everything I talk about is related to this. It's related to firing God. Okay. And one thing that I noticed, and I'm gonna get off here because I gotta get back to work, but I couldn't, there was nobody I could go to with this. When I started having thoughts like, maybe this stuff ain't what it, I got questions, when I was like, I got questions. I couldn't go to nobody because everybody I knew was Christian. Everybody, I didn't even know that there were Black people who did not believe in God. I didn't know that. I'm in my 30s. I didn't know that. I thought we all believed. Why wouldn't you? So when I'm having these thoughts and these doubts and like, oh my goodness, because my intent was never to write a book called Firing God. Never. My intent was to fix where I was going wrong. I mean, I'm having all these problems. It's me. God ain't do nothing. It's Cheryl. You're not good enough. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. That's what I had been taught. That's what I believed. If my life was going terrible, it's because I was not reading enough. I wasn't going to church enough. I wasn't praying enough. Something was going on. Okay. And again, I talk about all that in my book. My intent was not to no longer believe in this story. But something happened, y'all. I'm telling you, something happened. You have to get the book to see, because that's not what this channel is about. But what it is about is learning. I had to learn on my own and not depend on what somebody had told me, and count that thing as absolute truth. I had not learned any of that. Somebody told me this is the way it is and it's supposed to be, and this is what you got to do, and this is how you live a good life and a bad life and all that. Somebody told me that, and I believed it. Now I got to do this on my own. I actually have to find out on my own about what this life is, about what life is, period. But I'm willing to do that. And I've made a business about it. It's called Ypifany. Okay. It's a learning, development, and evaluation business. It's about growth and maturity. That's what it's about. All right. I've been on here 24 minutes. So that's all I want to let y'all know. Again, 3 books. Firing God is the first one I wrote. Tales from Eternity is actually the prequel to Firing God. So it's all the stuff I was going through, thoughts I was having, all the blogging and stuff I did before I decided to write Firing God. But it's the second book I wrote. Okay. And then the one after that is Longing to Learn. Longing to Learn. They're all connected. So that's all I got for y'all today. And I'll probably see you later on today. I'll probably do another video once I'm done with all this other stuff I have to do. All right. Y'all have a good day. See you later.